Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Had a little extra stuff going on, but we're here. How's everybody doing?
Not too shabby.
Got home from work. I'm here now.
Oh, crazy
Yeah.
night.
It's been a long couple of weeks for me, and I'd love to say it feels like it's getting better, but
Why? What's wrong?
just the overtime at work. I've spent weeks of it getting up at 4 a.m.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll do it. It's, extra money is nice, but not feeling like you want to die is also nice.
Ain't it, though? All right, guys. So, what's new in y'all's neck of the wood?
Free trials of the state burning down are 98% used, so...
I was about to say, has the fires gotten that close to you?
It rained ash. The areas around where I live got set on fire. My main effect with it, though, I didn't lose home or anything, but it rained ash on me one day. That wasn't fun.
How's the air?
It's finally cleared up.
I was about to say, people are probably walking around in filter masks or something.
People were doing that for a bit. Depends where you were at. It was really all over the place, but called out a few times because literally things were fine, and then new blaze would come out, and then the smoke from that, the winds would just send it our way. It was really bad.
Mm-hmm. Well, all right then. So, I'm glad you're okay, but not to make light of what you have to say, but
oh, make light. You're so tactful, t-shirt historian.
I know I'm a bastard. I can't help it.
I was fucking with you. That yeah.
I know. Okay, so new stuff. I'd hoped Dash would show up tonight, by the way, but that's okay. But yeah, so the Assassin's Creed Shadows debacle continues. I mean, we pretty much know that Ubisoft has the nail pretty much driven into the coffin because it's had 3 games that were pretty much all failures in a row, and Assassin's Creed Shadows looks like it's not making anybody happy whatsoever. They got a $20 million cash infusion to improve the game, and some of the streamers are already playing it in early access, and it still looks janky as hell. Actual Japanese gamers out there have been watching the streams and been critiquing what's going on in the games, and they've noticed things that are, well, I mean, just plain out wrong. I mean, for one thing, there was a cart of watermelons in one scene, and I know Yasuke, Black Samurai, watermelon. Yeah, I get it. I don't think that was intentional racism, but in any case, watermelons were not brought to Japan until the Edo period, and this game is supposed to be set in the Sengoku period. So you basically got watermelons showing up at a time when watermelons would not have been in Japan.
Maybe just floated down the river in a peach pit.
What you mean?
No.
Like a coconut? What was it, like two sparrows like brought it over like a strand of tree bark carrying a watermelon?
I was trying to make a Momotaro reference.
There you go. Oh, I don't know Momotaro.
If you want to make it black, set during the Onin period, where the entire country just burned for 50 years while the emperor did nothing but sit down and became a poet.
Are you talking about Oda?
I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head.
Well, pretty much after Oda Nobunaga, defeated all of his opponents and unified Japan. Yeah.
No, this was before
Oh.
the Onin Civil War, which was 1467.
Oh, okay. All right. And the other thing that's notable is the fact that if you assume in the first place that the watermelons are okay, there's cherry blossom trees everywhere in the game. And they're really, really big cherry blossoms that are pruning. Which,
It ain't spring, is it?
What?
It ain't spring, is it?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I don't know when the time of year is supposed to be, but that's kind of the weird thing. See, this apparently they're harvesting rice, but they have persimmons, and watermelons, which they shouldn't have anyway. But then the sakura are pruning, and it's kind of like you don't see watermelons at the same time as you would see sakura, and I mean, it's something Westerners wouldn't catch. Most likely, but the Japanese are very, intrinsically linked with their seasons and their seasonal foods and things. Because they have, festivals and stuff for all this. So they know this stuff by heart. I mean, I guess the cultural equivalent over here would be like, let's say it's mid-January, and all of a sudden, there's, you see snow and you see snow and everything out there, and all of a sudden, there's carts of pumpkins sitting out there.
Which is so frustrating because, once upon a time, Ubisoft was this company that was just known for all the great care and detail that they would put in, or at least that was sort of, the image they put out for people. With all the effort they put into the Notre Dame, right? And here they're just, not only are they just making mistakes with Japanese architecture, which I could have seen myself making those mistakes, but they're supposed to be bragging about, they're part of this big trend of pushing, being socially conscious and hiring cultural consultants. You didn't get people who knew something about the period in which the game is set.
Also, for where it's set, I mean, you could almost use Google Maps because a lot of those shrines and temples have been there for hundreds of years. Obviously, have to do some research, but literally, you could look at them and they've kept them pretty close to what they were back then.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like Ubisoft used to be a company that prided itself on historical accuracy. And now, according to what their directors and everything else are saying, is well, this is a brand new team doing their first game and all this kind of stuff and making all kinds of excuses. And my thing is, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are two of your biggest, flagship products that you're known for. That and what's the military one?
Just
I'm always forgetting.
It's all, everything's military relates Tom Clancy.
Mm-hmm.
You mean the Division or
any of that stuff, yeah. And it's and so for them to put a brand new team on this thing, it's irresponsible in the first place, and then for them to continually keep getting it wrong is insane. And not only that, but all of the artwork that they're putting out, all the posters and stuff that are going out overseas and everywhere else, they are de-emphasizing Yasuke after he was their big, mascot. Oh, look at how inclusive we are. We have Yasuke, the Black Samurai, who actually was not a Black Samurai. I mean, he was black, but he wasn't a samurai. But they're basically they're so embarrassed of him now after all the flack they got. They are
too deep to do much about it.
Yeah, they can't erase the character from the game, so they're erasing him from all of the advertising, or at least lessening him as much as possible. I mean, China would be proud.
And
all
Korea.
I'm saying is, why did they decide to recreate the LA riots? That's all I'm gonna say.
Magnificent. You must have been that unconscious bias I hear so much about. Indeed.
Oh,
An
I'm
adorable
not.
bastard. Thank you.
Well, don't forget they're also apparently bringing back that Tori statue figure, but they're just replacing the statue with a rock, or the gate with a rock.
Yeah, after they made that huge cultural blunder of the broken Tory gate that was still standing after the atom bomb. Yeah, and then I get what they were going for, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, you guys really should have consulted or known something about this, because this is such a stupid mistake that, you know. But it just goes. Go ahead.
It would be the equivalent of if Sasuke had a ship and they said to call the Enola Gay. Just you might want to rethink this.
I mean, I guess they could do worse, but I'm not really sure how. I mean, they can't. I don't think they could screw it up any worse than they already have. I mean, besides that, I mean, there's just other kinds of cultural artifacts that are screwed up in this game. Like, okay, you wouldn't want to play Yasuke through the game anyway. What
if they took like legendary historical figures like Nobunaga and decided to use this as a chance to say that, yeah, your emperors were gay the entire time?
Well, I mean, we don't know that they were necessarily gay, but
I'm just saying there's an angle they could take there, kind of like what they were sort of hinting at with like Da Vinci.
Well, the taboo is not so taboo. I mean,
there was a big period of boys love literature that was really popular that came from China.
Yeah. And in fact, their cultural / historical Japanese consultant wrote a interesting book on priests and their young boys that I won't talk a whole lot about because I don't want to get my channel shut down.
All right. So what if instead we get a narrative about how like the samurai we get the anti-samurai message out of it?
Well, actually, they're already doing anti-samurai because they're doing everything that they can to eliminate the word samurai from the game and replacing it with like a valiant warrior and that sort of thing. And as a matter of fact, they've already culturally insulted Japan again because one of the attack methods that Yasuke uses, he cuts off two of the guy's arms and then beheads him, and they're kind of like, we don't really want our samurai associated with that.
Yeah, you were supposed to kill people honorably, quote unquote, even though if you've ever seen Shogun, like if you're peasant, you stepped out of line, fuck you. You can, I mean, obviously wouldn't like cut your head off in the street like they did in the series, but the whole thing of if you insulted, they could fucking murder you.
Yeah, absolutely. And just from my own sword training, I can tell you now, all of the vital areas that you're taught to go for are the groin, the armpits, and the neck, or possibly the belly if you can get it, because these are all kill points. They're not necessarily all quick kill points. Some of them take longer. Oh, and the wrists, because all of those won't make you bleed out.
The forehead, that little technique where like the hand like flaps, you basically hit them like right square in the top of the head, like right above the eyes.
I mean, not really. That would require a stabbing motion, and katana are actually better for slicing.
Well, yeah, I'm saying
slices.
it was just a quick like swipe. I mean, you can't see visually, so to find an example.
So yeah, hacking an opponent to pieces is kind of like not what you would want to do. I mean, because for one thing, you're wasting a lot of extra motion and stuff like that when you could get rid of somebody quicker.
But all I know for certain is I'm not playing the game.
Well, kind of funny you would mention that, because you were kind of suggesting to me, is like, as much as you are ragging on the game, you really should, stream this thing and get it and stream it. And I thought about it, and I'm like, well,
I say this. I was suggesting this to you largely because you have such a passionate stance on this game, and frankly, with what I've seen with so many other, kind of people in our spaces that have gone and criticized these games, it's in the end done a lot of good for their channels at the same time. Plus, let's be fair here, there is an objective, like, for all the criticism we've had of the game, to sit down and actually play it for ourselves and have that firsthand knowledge and experience gives a lot of credence to your opinion.
True. I mean, nothing would be more fun than to sit back and play it and just kind of criticize it in situ. I mean,
sure, and if it is at the other side good, then hey, it's a good samurai game.
But it isn't. And it's not supposed to be a samurai game. It's called Assassin's Creed. You're not supposed to play through it as a big lumbering samurai, not to mention a black samurai in
right.
in full armor, carrying a kanabo and beating the shit out of people just wholesale in the streets.
I guess I just want to go be a Ronin or something.
Well, a Ronin would have made sense, maybe, that, but yeah, I mean, it's like some of the other weird things, is Naoe, who is ostensibly the real assassin of the game. I mean, because she even has the hidden blade, is still openly wearing a sword over her back while walking through the streets, which is something that you would never do, especially if you're a peasant.
Well, the thing you got to remember, though, T-shirt, it's the Ubisoft mindset with their company has been that it isn't enough that you are given the choice of, having, a male and female main character. They have to force you to pick these things. This has been that corporate mindset.
Yeah, but here's the other part of it, too, that doesn't work. Okay, so reviewers are already saying that some of the problems they're having with Yasuke is pretty much that he is no stealth at all. I mean, he's pretty much just like I walk in the door, kick it in, and fight everybody to the death. I fight my way all the way to the objectives. In fact, he can't climb nearly as proficiently as Naoe can, because Naoe has the grappling hooks, so there are spots that he can't reach that she can. So in order to get to those spots, you literally have to go to the pause menu, change out the character there, and restart as the other character. So I'm like, what's the point of this? I mean, if you can't...
The other thing about that is it's creating an obstacle for the players that's going to take away from the fun of it, because you have to stop what you're playing and doing just so you can go turn around and you have to pick the other character. Mark my words, if they're going to keep this up, they are probably going to have to patch it and remove that entirely.
Mm-hmm. Then, not to mention, there's that other latest news where they put in this new ally who is, Tuballard-sized woman who's apparently so powerful she can kick samurai in the butt and actually injure them.
She identifies as stealthy.
I mean, I don't know what she identifies as. A man, maybe? But, yeah, that's a character in the game that you can apparently recruit to assist you. So, yeah, that I'm looking forward to having an overweight woman come help me out in combat, because that's really what, I find that to be very heroic.
All she has to do is sit on them.
I mean, at the very least, maybe I can hide behind her and let her absorb all the hits.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we got a samurai, we got a ninja, and now we can have a sumo wrestler.
I mean, basically. And yeah, Kringe, I agree. Syndicate was one of my least favorites because of the differences between the male and female characters and how they played. And I pretty much always played the male just because it was just kind of like, yeah, well, we're getting into fights most of the time, because my idea of stealth is, whoops, we've been seen, now we need to fight.
No, yeah, Kringe, that's exactly what I was referring to.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember how long it had been going on.
It's been a while back. But I own that one, and I don't know, man.
I think I bought it at like a deep discount for like $10-15.
I think I did too. But it's been so long, I don't remember.
But the thing is, though, that's ultimately the ultimate like when time to buy an Assassin's Creed game is after about 4 or 5 months, it's going to go to like $20.
That's what Shohei Kondo actually said. He said this game is not worth $70. It's not even worth $50. He says $20. Okay, it's fine. And by the way, I do want to throw some highlights out there on Shohei Kondo's channel. If you have not seen it, you should. I watch his channel all the time. He's a Japanese YouTuber. He talks about and plays Japanese, well, not Japanese games, but games that are themed with Japanese things like Assassin's Creed, Shadows, Ghost of Tsushima, the upcoming Ghost of Yotai. He's also done reviews on the Shogun miniseries that was on Hulu. That was really, really good. So he is he's an actual Japanese person talking about these games. And at one point, Ubisoft shut down his channel, or at least they censored one of his videos. They stopped it because they thought he was proclaiming hate speech when he was actually talking critically about the problems with Assassin's Creed Shadows as it relates to erasing Asians culturally from the landscape. And as one Twitter user put it, I love this particular quote, nobody wants to play a 6'3" black man running around feudal Japan killing Asians. We see enough of that in San Francisco already.
Hashtag stop Asian hate.
Stop Asian hate.
The funniest thing about all this, you know which game is much more authentically Japanese and also made by foreigners? Show American Story.
That one I want to see so bad. And that one's made by Chinese.
Yeah, no, but I've seen videos where there's the Japanese people talking about, I'm like, oh my God, they got this, they got that. They even have porn, the porn truck thing. Like, whoever's like, I hate that I actually know what this is.
I want to show that game off on this channel so bad, but I'm afraid I'm going to get clipped for it so bad because not only is the music in it all copyrighted, but the game itself is kind of a little, pushing the edge. But there is another game that's coming out to the PC on, I believe it's March 10th, or is it 25th? I'm not sure. March 10th.
Soon. And
that is Ronin, Way of the Samurai, and that one is by Namco Bandai, which is another Japanese company.
Didn't they just have some other little bit of news lately?
Right?
I don't know about their news lately. All I know is, Koei Tecmo Games Company Limited, March 10th, 2025. Yeah, embark on an epic journey across war-torn 19th century Japan in this open-world action RPG from Team Ninja, the veteran studio behind Nioh and Ninja Gaiden.
Speaking of Ninja, didn't they just drop a new Ninja Gaiden game?
Ninja Gaiden Black 2?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't heard much about it. All I have heard, though, is like all the Ninja Gaiden games are hard as hell.
They were Dark Souls before Dark Souls.
At least the original version of it was pretty ridiculous. Like, you start Ninja Gaiden 2 and you're immediately being swarmed by enemies.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's Japanese gamers play at a different level, man. They always have. Yeah, they've been hard since the NES. Yeah, I remember the very first one was quite a bear. I had many sleepless nights trying to get through that very first one.
Well, if you play the Xbox Ninja Gaiden or like Ninja Gaiden Black, all you need to know is the wall. Run up wall, jump, heavy attack. The AI just falls for that constantly.
Well, I'll probably never play it, to be quite honest. But anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, anyway, I'm actually I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing Assassin's Creed Shadows come out, just because I want to see how badly this thing gets roasted. I want to see, just how bad the actual game is. That was going to be like a treasure farm of memes and YouTube videos for YouTubers. So it's YouTube fodder in the same way that every Star Wars project is.
Or Dragon Age.
Dragon Age, yeah, the latest one was really, really bad. The other three were not quite that bad, but yeah, this latest one was, oh boy. But I'm talking like a franchise.
I think Show American Star will have a lot of memes, but like good ones. Because they'll just be like that fun, enduring thing when another culture views America in the weird ass way that they do.
Well, we kind of are weird people. I mean, if you were from some foreign place, and you came here, you'd be like, what the hell is all this about?
They put peanut butter and jelly together? Ew.
Hey, there's countries out there that don't even like peanut butter.
Oh, don't I know it?
Mm-hmm. And in other news, let's see. So yeah, Anthony Mackie, the star of Brave New World, the new Captain America movie, has said, the Star-Spangled Avenger represents a lot of different things, and I don't think the term America should be one of those representations.
This movie is so screwed.
I mean, if you... I could just... I can't wait to see what Disney's going to do for damage control on this, because, this movie is destined to fail before it even comes out in the theaters, because they have spent so much money on trying to get this thing in the can and out on the screens. There's been so many rewrites and reshoots and re-this and re-that, and there's no way they're going to make their money on this thing. They would have to, hit the $1 billion mark, and they ain't going to do it, because unless Harrison Ford's name can somehow sell this movie, for, billions of dollars, I don't think it can. It's just not going to happen.
No, Kringa, your mom's not wrong. The Red Hulk has always been a dumb concept. Where his whole thing is he emits radiation when he gets angry.
Wait a minute. What is this? My mom called me after she saw the trailer and could not understand the concept of the Red Hulk. Yeah. Magnificent Origins is the only Dragon Age game, and I refuse to hear otherwise. No, I'm with you, man. Origins and the one that links onto that one directly are both really, really good.
I had fun with Inquisition.
No, not Inquisition. Origins has a add-on that is part of it too, Awakening. Magnificent says, no one wants this movie. Who is it for? Yeah, exactly.
Like Marvel's Claudia Black.
Marvel's had so many problems here lined up. Just from the outset, the fact that this movie is made in relations to was made as a result of January 6th, because that was like one of the core inspirations for it originally. And when they were calling it New World Order, which that was a thing. And this was concepted back in 2021, and it's had now 4 years to get put together, and now it's coming out months after Trump gets reelected as sort of a repudiation upon his return to power, and it's just it's not going to look good optically, and I think it's going to piss off half the country no matter what they do. They have to try to avoid that whole narrative, because people are asking, is Red Hulk supposed to be a thing about Trump?
Mm-hmm. Orange Hulk.
I'm the angriest there is.
There's nobody who gets angrier than I do, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a giant wall all by myself.
Oh, Green Hulk, you said you're so angry, but your angry is nothing. You're like a little tiny angry. I have the best anger.
I have the best anger.
And I will make Columbia pay for it.
I also have the best shits. You're gonna watch while I take a shit down Captain America's throat for saying Captain America shouldn't stand for America.
Oh, that shield. But they were filled with Hydra. You know, what kind of spy organization lets spies invade them?
That was the single worst idea they ever had at Marvel. That was the most asinine, most, you could see the writing on the wall. This is embarrassing. This was a terrible idea thing they could have done. And that was the whole Captain America as a Hydra agent, aka that's not funny. You know, German person in the 1940s.
Which was in itself also a response to Trump.
Uh-huh. That
like,
was
in so many ways they have completely ruined what should be their biggest characters, because you got to realize before all of this, Captain America was never this big A-list character. He was always just sort of a C-list character that people kind of looked at as sort of this hokey, like, you know, jingoism. That's why so many people were like, I can't stand for the, I don't support the very concept of Captain America and what he stands for.
Well, I mean, you know, I read something similar about Superman, because, you know, they had that new Superman trailer drop, and I don't have it. I kept meaning to clip it, but we'll probably clip it on Saturday and talk about it. But
you mean,
see if I can.
Well, you gotta make sure you get the you gotta make sure you get the widescreen for it, just to be able to fit his eyes in.
No kidding. And they said no CG was used in this. Like, well, of course not.
James Gunn has said a lot of stuff like The Flash was the best movie he's seen out of DC.
He has to be. That has to be a joke or a prank or something. I don't.
Well, I mean,
No, it's,
to be fair, he was saying it
always
because
best.
he kind of has to contractually prop these things up. But
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. But let me see. Yeah, this is a quote from a friend of mine, who saw the Superman trailer, and her quote was, "A lot of folks don't like Superman because he's a Boy Scout and not edgy. His parents weren't murdered by anyone. His girlfriend likes him. Everybody likes him except racist a-holes. He's too powerful. And the main time he gets interesting is when Superman goes bad, like Injustice. I like that he's a seriously good guy, but how do you build a story about a guy that isn't traumatized by anything except some rocks?" And that used to be my thing with him too. Is just kind of like, you know, he's just not a very interesting character, because it's like, you know, he's Superman. He can do anything. What's the point of reading his comic book? You know that he's not really going to face any kind of a challenge that he can't overcome with relative ease.
well,
No.
The problem is
No.
that over time they made him overpowered. Because the original Superman he didn't fly.
Right. Well, it's like I think, what is it, the Golden Age Superman? Or was it the Silver Age Superman? One of those two was able to do things like juggle planets, like literally.
so the thing with Superman, right? It's a morality character. It's
Right.
He's not great because he has all this power. He's a good man because of the way he was brought up. It's just a matter of, you know, if you had that kind of power, wouldn't you try to help people out? Like, he's the best of humanity that there is.
And he's not even a human.
He's the perfect analogy for America, because you think about it, and the idea is, in America, you could be anything you want. You could achieve such greatness and come from nothing. And here's Superman. He came to here from, you know, far, far away, and he's come here, and look at him now. He's the greatest man that there can be. And it's all this question of, he is the straight man in a world gone wrong, right?
Right.
Yep.
It's just this idea that he is the true blue Boy Scout who's going to try to set things right when things go wrong. That is what makes Superman work.
That is kind of what they need to emphasize in a Superman movie, is the fact that, yeah, he does have all this unlimited power and ability, but instead of abusing it, he is using it for good. And
Yeah,
I think that's something that none of the Superman
I got
guys
pitch.
ever thought of, except for maybe Alexander Salkind with the first one.
I got a pitch
There's a
you
reason
could
why.
do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ironcaster.
Oh, I was going to say, there's a reason why Christopher Reeves is held up as the greatest Superman, because he is that perfect embodiment of the character.
Yes,
And
I agree.
It's down to the little things, from his mannerisms, just the way he carries himself. Like, he's always kind of slouched over, and it's like, oh yeah, he takes his glasses off, and then you see him like stand up straight. And he just the mannerisms with how he carries himself changes. Now he's Superman. Well, he's always Superman. It's just the reality is, the real person is Clark Kent. Superman is literally just the costume, and him taking that to that inevitable thing of like, I'm going to take advantage of all this power and gifts that I've been gracefully given by God to do the best I can.
Yeah, and that works. I mean,
I am so sick of this whole like, Superman's lame. It's like, well, no, you just want a dark, edgy, broody, like 90s like guts character whose name has like 3 X's and a Z in it. He's like Generation Extreme, Blood Snarl.
A Rob Liefeld character.
Yeah, on the note of that, my pitch for Superman would be something akin to, because the anti-Superman is basically its own genre at this point. So
yes,
it is the biggest mistake you could have. Like, what if Superman went evil is the worst fucking thing that has come to comic books.
Yeah, because
I agree. I totally agree.
It's why I do not watch The Boys, because fuck the concept. I do not want an evil Superman. I want Superman. We have not had Superman.
Yeah. So
do you think we're going to get it this time?
Given how popular that type of stuff would be put Superman in the equivalent of that kind of universe, where it's all about grays and moral, compromising yourself, and everyone's an asshole. Throw Superman into something like that and have him sort that shit out, and have them try to compromise him like they do everyone else, and him struggle against that and overcome it. I think that would do gangbusters for people. Because we're sick of this shit. We're sick of nihilism.
Yeah.
So as for the question of, do I think they do Superman right? I see the potential, I think, and what I think they're going to try to do. Because if you look at what we've seen so far with James Gunn's Superman, he's out there saving the day, saving the kids from, the explosions. That is the stuff that says, yes, that is Superman right there. That one scene where he is jumping in the way and protecting this little child from being hurt. You have people like holding up the flag with him, like, Superman, you're the only one who can save us. There's little moments like that that are great. And then you see what I'm assuming is they're going to make the Authority, which you're seeing like the Guy Gardner Green Lantern with the amazingly dumb haircut, which I will stand up for and say, yes, we need to have the stupid fucking hair. It's perfect. Because if you look at Guy Gardner in the comics, he's always had a bowl cut. He's always had kind of dumb hair. So I bravo for that one, James Gunn. But the idea that what I think we're seeing is, because they're sort of the sanctioned superhero team, the idea that Superman is coming in to do good, because only Superman does good. We do well, Superman does good. The idea that that Superman's gonna come in and try to do his best to to save the day and stop monsters in this, it flies in the face of these, the Authority or whoever like Hawkgirl and the Green Lantern are supposed to be in this movie. And here he is getting in the way of them, either stealing the limelight from them or showing them up, being this guy with all this power with no checks on him whatsoever. There's something there that could work.
I can tell that this is something you're actually really, really passionate about.
Well, it's just that, comic books. It's that other. It's one of those like little 5 pieces of me that's there. It's just that we've gone so long without a Superman movie, and as far as superheroes go, Superman is one of the three big heroes of all of comic books. Because you have Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman. They are the three most important heroes out there.
I agree. Of course, I would also add Punisher, but he's not a superhero.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
And plus he plays in that moral gray area where Superman should never be.
Right. Yeah, they should never have a comic together.
Batman you can kind of have in that area, but really characters like the Punisher should be something that Batman is there to stop. That's what makes Daredevil work.
Well, that's what made the Ennis run on the Punisher so good, was the fact that he recognized that superheroes don't belong in the Punisher's universe, and so when they did show up with the Punisher basically kind of humiliated them and sent them packing or embarrassed them. And that's just kind of the way it should be, because the Punisher is kind of his own little element, his own little area, and his own little niche, and he needs to stay there. Assuming they really do bring him back. I mean, they've already teased him in the Daredevil Born Again show. So will we actually get a Punisher in the Disney Plus series that is, actually gonna put on the skull and start killing people and doing what he's supposed to do?
It's Disney.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said that, but then we saw the Daredevil trailer for Born Again, and it actually looks really good, man. I mean, it's hard for me to just say, it's gonna be a piece of crap.
I'm not saying.
Well, the other thing is also we've also seen some mention of them saying, like, we're just gonna act like all that She-Hulk stuff never happened, like Daredevil never had a one-night stand.
Mm-hmm. Which was a dumb thing to do to their character anyway.
Yeah, because Daredevil is one of the more important heroes. Like, he is. I would dare say he's probably a B tier hero, because while as great as Daredevil is, he never quite hit the same peaks as like the X-Men or Spider-Man or Batman. He's good. Right. He's got some amazing runs. Frank Miller's run especially.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just he's kind of just slightly under the surface.
Well, in the comic books, yes, but I'm going to point out the Netflix Daredevil show did something incredible for streaming superhero shows, because that first season was just unbelievable. It was so good. And the second season was good too when they brought the Punisher on. Those are the only two Daredevil seasons I own, but I do own them both. And they were amazing. I remember my cousin was watching the Daredevil on Netflix, and I wasn't terribly interested at the time. I was just kind of like, oh, yeah. And he said, no, it's really good. You need to check it out. So eventually when I got Netflix, that was like the very first thing I watched. And man, I was just floored. Huh?
They did my boy Iron Fist wrong.
They did. I don't know what happened. Luke Cage was okay, but not great.
It was, what if we kill our interesting villain halfway through the show and then replace them with an idiot?
Yeah.
Just so we make it.
Boy, that's true.
Black men fighting each other.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, Iron Fist. Both seasons were terrible. That was so badly done. I'm surprised that they allowed that to happen.
Well, the main issue is because they got into that racist mindset where they're like, oh, it's a white guy who does kung fu. We can't have this. And it's like, so what are you saying? Only Asians can do martial arts?
He was selected. He went through all this shit to get. He didn't get because he was wealthy. He ended up there because he was wealthy, and then he comes back. But then he's supposed to start using his resources to help people. He's basically a Bruce Wayne, like the
kind of story.
Bigger focus on martial arts.
Yeah, and I actually think if what they should have done, I don't know, this is a lot of people probably say, "Oh no, T-shirt." What they should have done was they should have taken the Luke Cage story, and they should have taken the Iron Fist story and kind of combined them and gone ahead and done the whole Heroes for Hire thing right from the get-go.
which was kind of why they did it. Which is why they did it in the comics in the first place, because both those books started underperforming. So they said, let's just team them up together, and magic was made.
Mm-hmm. And the Defenders. Oh man, you want to talk about missing the mark by a mile. I mean, what happened with that?
Hey, Sigourney Weaver. Bye,
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know who was the showrunner on that one, but I mean, basically, it almost seemed like that was his excuse. He's like, oh, I really wanted Sigourney Weaver to be on one of my shows, so I got her, and then we totally wasted her, and we wasted this entire team, and we wasted all this plot and all the stuff that we were developing. And what was the name of the girl that they had? I mean, because they had a female superhero before Daredevil, but I forgot what her name was.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Jessica Jones.
And
That wasn't bad.
The problem is Jessica Jones only really has one story, and they did it in the first season.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I totally
also,
agree.
I think it was kind of a mistake to have David Tennant be Purple Man, just
Why?
because he was great in it. But
Yeah.
if there's any one man at the time, I think women wouldn't mind taking orders from, it's David Tennant.
Well, at least until recently, where he started, opening his mouth about his politics.
True, but that also assumes people are listening.
True.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that we have found out from being in the culture war for all these years, is that your average person out on the street has no awareness of it. And so when they finally come to the conclusion that we did, like, oh, I didn't know this. This is terrible. And all, it's kind of like, yeah, see, we were trying to tell you all along, but you weren't listening to us. You just thought we were, geeks and you believed all the media and everything else.
The thing you got to remember is that there's always that one thing out there that's gonna there's no one thing that's gonna like get people to click, right? Like how many people were all up in arms over the World of Warcraft stuff with Blitzchung back in like 2017, 2018, when all that
I was there.
For Taiwan stuff. And I tell you, like at the time I had a WoW subscription, and like that was right when WoW Classic was going on, and like I was playing with some friends, and we were all like, yeah, we're gonna play, and that was kind of like all right, maybe we're gonna step away from this for a while, and then I kind of jumped over to FF14. But my point is, there's no one topic that's gonna finally get people to wake up to it. It's gonna be all sorts of different things. Like some people are super passionate about all these different franchises, and it's always a matter of like, you got to find out the right one's going to come along for push the right buttons for people.
Yeah, and kind of just like you, it's like I was pretty deep into the Blizzard gaming scene, and then the whole thing with Blitzchung happened, and I shut down all my subscriptions and everything else for a bit longer than 6 months actually. I thought that was an injustice.
Ironically enough, I was actually thinking about picking up a subscription again for a couple months, because now that I'm running more D&D, more RPGs, I kind of want to go back and check out like the story of WoW and actually get myself familiar with that. Find some stuff to steal from.
Well, no. Yeah, it is a very different game. It does feel like it's very much on rails now, and I've seen all the different iterations coming out, and it's been everything from, just stay here and play dailies and don't finish the main content, and, go on raids constantly, or go in dungeons constantly and having to group up with people you don't know of whatever degree of skill. And now I have not played the exact latest iteration, the latest storyline from WoW, but I kind of see them slipping away from that a bit, because I think that the WoW experiment with, trying to force people to play with other people has kind of come to its inevitable conclusion, and they've discovered, people don't really necessarily like to group up all that much.
This is why I prefer Warframe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I play a lot of, single player games. So
I'm still playing Guild Wars 2. Heck, I'm playing it right now.
There you go. I mean, and how old is that game now?
Came out in 2012, so we're talking 13 years later. I've got 6,000 hours logged into the game.
6,000.
Yes.
Those are rookie numbers. We gotta get those numbers up.
But hey, it's been fun. I mean, the fact that I don't have to pay a monthly subscription fee, I'm like, just think about all the money I've saved on other games.
That's true. I mean, for the subscription fee that you pay per month, you could easily pick up 2 or 3 indie games. And I mean, I'm talking like really small studios that will still be good, by the way, because I'm finding a lot of small indie games that are worth playing. It's just I don't have the time. I'll pick them up and they'll be in my Steam library, but it'd be like, it could be months before I get around to playing this, but
I can have a few recommendations, though. Some of them are kind of extreme.
when you say extreme, what do you mean?
I mean, like, brutal as all hell.
Oh, like super duper hard.
Well, kind of that, but no. But like one of them was like Fear and Hunger 2 Termina.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's good, but it's also like
It's grueling.
It's brutal. Like your characters can lose limbs,
Oh yeah.
and there's insta kill attacks and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. I have both Fear and Hunger games because they are good, but they are attrition fests that will, you really have to have a super duper high frustration tolerance and kind of be able to persevere and keep trying and keep trying and keep trying because you will lose so many times when you play that game. But the trick is to get a little bit further and unlock more stuff every time and eventually learn all the things that you need to do on every character in order to succeed. Because it's when you get to that very last character and you get to their ending, it's worth it.
Another one is Beyond Citadel, which has actually relatively realistic like reloading thing. Like you actually have to cock the gun after you change out the clips and everything else.
Oh yeah,
It's
I've seen that.
anime girls, but also them being blown to shit, hell and back.
I have seen that. I've been curious about it.
What is it about that weird like combination of like anime and just having to be so hyper like accurate to how these things work? Is that internet autism just down to a T?
I guess so.
It's a case where it's combining because understand in Japan when we say otaku, it just means someone who's really into something. So for instance, there's gun otaku. So you can be into cute girls and like obsessed with firearms. And as far as I can tell, Beyond Citadel, that's what the devs are. But no, you'll have things like you get blown away and your head goes flying and you see like your disemboweled corpse. And like the character sprites, like it shows like where the bullets went through and took out their skull. Like it's like cute thing gets brutalized. Just seems to be an art aesthetic that people like to do. I mean, have you ever seen was it Made in Abyss? Like that's where the cutest character design ever goes through the most horrendous monstrous shit.
Yeah.
Where, like, there's a cute character literally at one point at the end of the first season, they just melt and they're crying and screaming for help to the other character who's terrified as they're seeing it.
Yeah, Made in Abyss left me crying so many times. I mean, just like seriously ugly crying because it was so good and so heartfelt. And, people can level whatever kind of accusations they want to about, the age of the characters and all that sort of stuff. But to me, I never looked at them in that way. It's more just a case of it's horrible because they're young people having to face this kind of horror head on and deal with it and suffer through it, and it's just gut wrenching.
Yeah, but Promised Neverland kind of does that as well, but not nearly as extreme.
Yeah. I was also reading up online. We are a pop culture channel too, by the way, guys. So we don't just do TTRPGs; we do everything. We do, video games, anime, everything. But
I've worked on each, so
yeah. I have heard some bad news, at least from my perspective, because I was a really big fan of Redo of Healer, but I've heard that there is not going to be a season 2.
There's been a couple shows I'm surprised that we are getting season 2s of. Some of the show, well, nothing quite out there like that, but some shows I absolutely adored, like we got last year, like "'Tis Time for Torture Princess."
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that. Nope. I still need to watch The Fat Elf.
Oh yeah. Elf Can't Diet.
Yeah.
At least actually, but with all this in mind, I do have something kind of related here for a topic. I think this came out out of CES like about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I don't know if you had happened to see this or not. I don't think we talked about this yet.
Oh, are you talking about the VLC subtitling thing?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
The IA one?
Yes. So yeah, apparently now VLC Media Player, it will do real-time AI translations for subtitled films and stuff, which is just, threatening to put the localizers right the hell out of business, which is kind of where they deserve to be, because now, you'll be able to catch, AI generated pixel perfect translations of all your favorite anime and foreign films.
And the other part about this as well is the fact that you can supposedly with this version you'll be able to do it all offline too. So you do not have to be hooked up to the internet to probably their system to do this out. So just all in the age of all the piracy, just think about all the international shows you can get where you get instantaneous translations potentially.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what Japan was going for on that, because they got so sick of localizers messing with their stuff that that's one of the reasons why Kadokawa said, okay, we're going to start doing same-time releases in Japan and in America so that there's no lag time between, when the stuff gets translated and how it gets translated. We're just going to do it in-house, and we're going to release simultaneous drops in Japan and in America so that they can't be messed with. So
there's another one in relating to AI voices. There's I forget which one it was called, but I saw people use JoJo Bizarre Adventure with it. It basically took the Japanese actors' voices and it had them speaking English, but with the JoJo lines. It was actually
nice.
rather impressive.
Yeah, that's one of the next steps with this AI. You're going to get it to where they're able to do just that. So you're going to get a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he's speaking in a proper English accent.
Mm-hmm. It will be curious to go back and watch some of the old shows I have saved up, because one of my favorite ones is a Swedish series called Akta Människor. And at the time, you had to download the translation subtitles for VLC if you wanted to watch it with subtitles. So now I am curious to see, when they roll that AI technology out, how it's going to function with something even that old, It'll
be interesting to see what happens. The big problem with AI still is just getting it, the tones, because the person's speaking English, but they're not enunciating at all. They're just speaking flat. Now, some AI voices are actually kind of nice. Was it the Morrowind god, Dagoth or whatnot?
Yeah, Dagoth.
Yeah, Dagoth. That one's pretty good. The Burnman one is another one that sounds pretty consistent, I guess, because he has a very similar tone he speaks in, so the AI doesn't have to, adjust it accordingly.
I gotta confess, man, that's actually one of my favorite AI voices to listen to. I will actually stop to watch any of the videos of that use the Burnman voice, because it's just, they're good. They always are. Even if it's just him reading the Old Testament Bible, it's when you hear Joshua, I think it's his name, Joshua Graham, reading it, it's amazing.
Graham Nolan?
No. Joshua Graham is his name. Is the name of the character. Graham Nolan is the guy who created Bane.
Hmm. Who am I thinking? I'm thinking of. There's another AI voice I'm thinking of that people have been using to just go and read out like orc biology from Warhammer.
Oh. I don't know. But
I forget
you know,
which one. I think it's like one of the Imperators or something. I'm trying to remember. There's a lot. I always like what Joe Rogan parodies people do. Like some of the ones where they're like interviewing the characters from Evangelion.
Oh, it's Dave
Yeah.
Attenborough.
David. Oh. And so here we look upon the godless heathens that are the orcs. Those green-skinned bastards who reproduce like mushrooms on every world that they populate. Yeah, I can imagine that would be pretty funny.
Although,
But
and I don't know how much longer you want to go, T-shirt, but there's one last thing I got here I can show off for you.
what? Let's save it. Let's save it for Saturday. We're already over our time. We've got 2 watchers.
It's 1 minute. And actually, I won't be here
Okay.
Saturday.
Okay, well then, let's do it.
Okay. So, I don't know. You've seen the chat music series?
No.
Oh.
Nope.
So, we have a little musical reading out comments from the new Snow White trailer.
Oh no. Oh, now I want to do this. I can do this.
You know, it still walk out. This trailer on the TV and the I paid nothing to watch this trailer, but I already want my money back. Coming to a theater near you, me is that a threat? They should have made Rachel CGI instead. And the 7 Discord bars. The CGI was much better when I turned my monitor on. Disney invites you and I must politely decline. With a voice and apple wise, Lord Farquaad playing Snow White. This movie should come with a disclaimer. No dwarfs were harmed, but your childhood might be. I haven't seen something self-implode this hard since that time.
All right. Pause that just for a moment, just because, we need to be a little transformative, but it's so good.
It's AI. It's not.
There's such a
I haven't seen something self-implode this hard since that Titan submarine. Oh my god, that's so wrong. I love it.
but the channel is Chat Music, by the way. And there's always something new. You can go back and, dude, my god, when they roast people, it is savage.
Comment sections exist. They don't exist for proper discourse. They exist literally just to shitpost.
Pretty much. And speaking of that, let's get the shit out of here. Y'all ready? All right. Everybody out there in YouTube land, y'all take care. We will see you Saturday for the week in Geek. Until then,
Later.
You have a wonderful week.